अस्सलाम वालेकुम गाइस, कैसे हैं आप सब। उम्मीद है आप सब ठीक होंगे। आज का जो मेरा टॉपिक है वो सार्क है, ऑर्गेनाइजेशन सार्क पे आज मेरी फुल वीडियो है। होप आपको पसंद आएगी। फर्स्ट इंट्रोडक्शन देना है आपने। द साउथ एशियन एसोसिएशन फॉर रीजनल कोऑपरेशन सार्क इज़ एन इकोनॉमिक एंड जियोपॉलिटिकल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ऑफ साउथ एशियन नेशंस. It was established on December 8, 1985 by India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Maldives and Bhutan. In April 2007, at the association's 14th summit, Afghanistan became its 8th member. It plays the role of guiding force for the member countries. Saarc provided a platform for the people of South Asia to work together in a spirit of friendship, trust, and understanding based on mutual respect, equality, and shared benefits. Saarc nations' cooperation is in the area of agriculture, rural, biotechnology, culture, energy, environment, economy and trade, finance, funding mechanism, human resource development, poverty alleviation, people-to-people contact, security aspects, social development, science and technology, communications and tourism. Objectives of Saarc: promote the welfare of the people of South Asia and improve their quality of life. Accelerate economic growth, social progress, and cultural development in the region by providing all individuals with the opportunity to live in dignity and realize their full potential. Promote and strengthen collective self-reliance among the countries of South Asia. Contribute to mutual trust, understanding, and appreciation of one another's problems. Promote active collaboration and mutual assistance in the economic, social, cultural, and technical and scientific fields. Strengthen cooperation with other developing countries. Strengthen cooperation among themselves in international forums on matters of common interest and cooperate with an international and regional organization with similar aims and purposes. Constraining factors, hurdles in the development of Saarc. Saarc was established before 34 years. On the time of its establishment, Saarc is facing many problems which are no doubt not allowing South Asia cooperation to develop. Some of these hurdles can be interstate disputes in South Asia. One of the major hurdles in the way of cooperation among the Saarc members is the mistrust, mutual security perceptions, and hostility. All the members of this organization feel in one way or other threat to their political, economic, and territorial stability from the neighboring countries. They are still entrapped in the historical conflicts of colonial rule and the disputed environment after the departure of colonial masters, that is, loss of property, lives, identities, and communal violence. These are always high risk that any time the efforts for cooperation can suffer due to communal and terrorist threats. Fear of Indian domination. Another most important cause of Saarc failure is that there is a fear of Indians' hegemonic rule in the region. Indian desire to participate in the decision-making the process of the region as a leader has caused concerns among the neighboring countries, particularly Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Bangladesh. The political, diplomatic, and security concerns felt by the member countries of Saarc in South Asia has obstructed any positive development among the member countries. Civilizations clash. Professor Samuel Huntington has mentioned in his book The Clash of Civilizations that Saarc has been a failure because, according to him, the countries belonging to organizations like EU, etc., they belong to the same culture. But Saarc countries are those whose cultures are different. India and Pakistan are enemies of each other. They fight on minor things, and then how can these two countries support each other in one organization? No country in the region is having any feeling of belongingness with the other state. Unstable financial position. The weak financial position of the member countries has also created an uncertain future for this organization. This weak financial position is reflected in the trade imbalances among the member countries. The Saarc members are financially and economically not very much developed. the thing is not conducive for the economic integration of South Asia. Most of the member countries export similar products, and in that too, India plays a major role. This situation encourages the least developed countries to go for aid demands, arrangements, and extra regional trade, which is not favorable for the regional economic interaction. The member countries of Saarc are not complementing each other, but they are competing. In fact, mutual trade is very low. The lower level of intra region trade in South Asia has made the objective of this organization a failure. The asymmetry between India and member countries. There is a economical, technological, and demographic imbalance between India and other member countries of Saarc. India, being larger in size, economy, and possessing high technological infrastructure, dominates other members. India accounts for more than three quarters of the regional GDP and technological infrastructure, and two-thirds of the global exports of the region. The smaller countries in South Asia feel uncomfortable about their trade relations with India because under the current tariff structure, India runs a large trade surplus with its neighbors. Also, India's volume of informal trade with most of its neighbors is quite enormous. All South Asian countries look up to India to share its huge markets due to its size and location, where 80% of the intra regional trade in South Asia is to or from India. India blames the failure of SAFTA on Pakistan, but it is not true at all because SAFTA requires Pakistan, India, and Sri Lanka to bring their duties down to 20%. Moreover, India is attached to all the other member countries geographically, as she is in the middle of the region and others are on the periphery. It can be said that without India, other member countries cannot move ahead as India links all the members together. Lack of trust among the member countries. There is also a lack of trust among the member states of Saarc, which does not augur well for the future development of this regional organization. They still live in the cobwebs of history, and mutual rivalries and mistrust has caused them enormous damage already. The elites do not trust each other mainly because of their nationalistic feelings, vested interests, and interstate disputes. In the presence of such disputes, this regional organization cannot be hoped to be developed on a stable footing. Exclusion of contentious issues from Saarc Charter. The Charter of Saarc itself has some self-imposed anomalies, as its charter has the provision of not discussing the contentious and bilateral disputes. On the one hand, it asks for increased cooperation and exchanges, and on the other hand, avoids negotiation on bilateral disputes. The Charter also requires that all the decision will be taken unanimously, which became quite difficult. This clearly shows an unstable interstate relationship towards equal participation in policy making for South Asian people. It can be said that the Charter itself denies the true purpose of the organization. In such kind of conditions, it cannot be said to be developed on a sound basis. Different political system. All the South Asian countries have different kinds of political system, which is also the reason for the failure of Saarc. South Asia has not been a strong democratic region. Like in India, there is a democracy. In Pakistan, there is transitional democracy, kingship in Nepal, and presidential system in Sri Lanka. Most of the countries have remained unstable. The dispute between the two countries, that is Pakistan and India, over Kashmir issue has never led these two countries to go well together and set aside their differences on the Saarc forum. Apart from this, India is having disputes with the rest of the member countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, and this thing has not helped Saarc objectives to be achieved. Lack of people to people contacts. The contact of the people with the association is zero, as well as with the people of the member countries. They do not know when was the association made and what was the purpose behind it. In such a scenario, how can they join together to help their states resolve their problems? Lack of strong infrastructure. South Asian countries share some common features as well as cheap labor, low incomes, low value added commodities, and comparative advantage in the same commodities like tea and garments, etc. The intra-regional trade cannot be successful in such conditions where the trade and economic structure and industrial infrastructure is similar. Almost all the member countries are not very strong economically, and instead of intra-regional trade, they search for other markets globally. Pathetic conditions of South Asia. About 300 million people of the South Asian region lack basic facilities, and it is the most deprived region in terms that more than 340 million people lack safe drinking water. More than 840 million are without good sanitation, and 400 million go hungry every day. Saarc is the most militarized place in the world. Its two countries, Pakistan and India, are spending $30 billion on their defense expense. Afghanistan, its new member, is facing war. Given these major problems, how such an association can successfully work? Integrated efforts are needed for the restoration of Saarc, regular meetings to pursue objectives respecting the sovereignty of nations and not interfering in their domestic politics. India should shun its desire to dominate South Asia. Dispute resolution framework to reduce regional conflicts. Without Pakistan, connectivity and secure issues will not be solved. Therefore, Pakistan should also take firm steps against terrorism. By implementing Saarc motor vehicle agreement, trade and regional connectivity can be increased. Fundraising and investment in building infrastructure of Saarc satellite facility by India, border heads for people-to-people contact, student visits, etc. have given hope of the revival of Saarc. Saarc has immense potential. Now it depends on the efforts of member states to work together and achieve common goals. Conclusion. Though the formation of Saarc is a landmark step taken by the leaders of the region, the main rationale behind its establishment is to develop a conducive environment where all nations may interact peacefully with each other, cultivate sustainable peace, and promote mutual economic well-being by utilizing available resources in the region through the peaceful process of economic cooperation. Nevertheless, after more than 3 decades of its establishment, neither South Asian nations have been able to push the process of integration into full swing, nor the organization itself has become viable enough to promote harmony and economic integration for preventing conflicts in the region. The establishment of this important organization is proof that the regional neighbors want to achieve progress in various social, economic, and security fields. We can be optimistic about the future of Saarc because both India and Pakistan are now on the way to move ahead with peace initiatives. We can hope that this regional organization has got enormous potential in the face of changing trends. The people of South Asia cannot be ignorant of the lost opportunities for their prosperity and welfare. Indeed, they are well aware of the advantages of closer cooperation between the nations of South Asia. It is therefore time to reinvent the wheel of South Asian identity through increased citizen activism, which will lead to a better environment for confidence building among the former elites of South Asia and in turn lead to a better South Asia. If you want to make peace with your enemy, you have to work with your enemy, then he becomes your partner. नेल्सन मंडेला। वीडियो अच्छी लगी हो तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दें। थैंक यू।